Communal zone. Me, Marco and George, you want to come over here? I'm Drew. I'll do my heart emoji so you can see me.
Can you hear?
Yeah, to your right.
Heart emoji.
I'm gonna put you on amplify. So
heart emoji.
I'm right here, man.
Oh yes,
Look.
yes. Now they are.
Yeah. Let me
Now you just went away. Okay. I'm on a computer, so I can't move around like you guys are doing.
Yep. We're not going to move at all. Why don't you place yourself exactly where you want the shot to be, and then we'll
George?
do.
Okay.
He's the one in the red shirt.
Yep. And
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, George, do you want to stand
guy.
next to Marco?
Hi.
Put you on.
We were just coming in, and the right controller disengaged from the headset, and we could not get it to return. So now we're coming through the computer.
And Athena, I can't get Marco on megaphone.
Marco, if you look down to the right, you'll see a little thing that says Host Tools. And if you click on that, you'll be able to amplify your voice.
Okay. Selfie, camera.
So not
emoji,
that menu. There's
bubble.
like a separate little circle to the right, to the lower right, that says Host Tools.
You're looking to the left.
Okay, there we go. Yes, and megaphone.
So click on that, and then click on Amplify My Voice.
Yep.
Looks like a little megaphone.
Got it. Is it
Great.
working?
Yes. And
Oh,
George,
yeah, we can hear you
that
great.
as well?
Okay.
Thanks,
I
Andrea.
think I still need to
You got it,
add
yeah.
George. Hold on.
And
Safety bubble on safety risk. What am I?
oh, that's okay. Don't worry about the safety bubble. I won't.
I'm just it's in the middle of the screen. I don't know what to do with it. Okay, there we go. All right. Sorry, I'm a complete Luddite here.
You're doing great.
Second time I've ever been in VR.
There's always a learning curve.
Yes. Yes.
The good thing it's not ending in a month.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's a good
thank
thing that
God.
they didn't decide that they
Yeah.
need. Yeah. That. Fortunately, the companion one's not going away, which is nice. So.
Yeah, and the community is not going away, right, everybody?
Yeah, the community's
we are
not
a community
going away.
first.
Community's not going away. Exactly.
Yeah. They can shut
Exactly.
down the
I
tech,
love
they
those
can't
hearts.
shut
Thank you.
down the community.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're all real
Absolutely.
people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
well, I don't know.
there are days, Marco.
Well, I don't know.
There
With
are days.
AI getting where it is, can you really be sure?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So we're just
Andrea,
waiting for.
there we go. Perfect.
We're just waiting for George to get here. Hey, Unji. We're just waiting for George to get back, and then we're gonna ask everybody to put yourselves on mute. I'm not gonna force it. We're just gonna be respectful, because that's what we do here.
Yeah, you could be. It's Burning Man, right?
Yeah. Well,
You could be totally
BRCvr.
disrespectful.
It's the virtual version. But Marco, we're so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah.
And we know we're in a space that is just evolving.
Yes. Well, it's George did a beautiful thing here.
Yeah.
This little
There he
environment.
is.
Okay, that's pointer.
And George, you should have Host Tools now.
George, we can hear you. That's amazing.
Sorry.
And can you go to can you make sure you got megaphone on, which is under
Yeah, I
Host
got it
Tools?
on now.
Yeah.
Great.
I've got it
So
on
hey
now.
everybody. I'm Drew from
Hi.
BRCvr, and we are so glad you're here for our final day of Reburn 23. This is so special for us to have Marco Cochrane, one of the great artists, one of the great contributors on Playa art, and also George Krieger, who was working with Marco to bring that art into a digital environment, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But to start, first, if we can just say hello to Marco to my left and George to my right.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
And Marco, I'd love to just start with you. You know, you're a sculptor, you're an artist, you're a metal worker, and you might just be the first artist who began his career on a dare. So I wonder if you could go back to that origin story in your 20s and tell us about it.
Okay, well, let's see. My parents were artists and active artists, and I thought that was a horrible life and not want to do it. So I was building boats and amusement park rides, and getting a echo. Who knows?
Yes. George, can you go on mute?
Yeah, sure.
And if you have headphones, that'd be great.
So yeah, so I'm building amusement park rides, and they had hired somebody to make this giant sculpture of a Egyptian dude or whatever. And I looked at it and thought, this sucks. Do way better than that. So my friends handed me some foam and said, do something, make a dolphin or something. So I did, and wow, you should actually do this. So that was the beginning. And that guy, my mentor for many years, said, if you want to be an artist, all you got to do is wear the hat for 2 years, tell people you're an artist, and they'll believe you. And it was true. Everyone thought of me as an artist after 2 years, and that it began.
And then in 2007, you go to Burning Man for the first time, which, by the way, was my first burn as well. That was quite an oil
Mhm.
rig, huh?
Oh my God, what a year!
Yeah.
I mean, I guess every year is the year to be the first year, but wow.
That was a good one. So it had a profound impact on your growth as an artist. Can you talk about that?
Yes. I had built a small art car for a group of people, and I had to do a final change on it the day before they left. And they said, why don't you just come with us? And that was back in the day when there were extra tickets. You could just buy one the last day. And so I went and drove the car the whole time. Didn't even know I did mushrooms every single day. Didn't even know at the end that it was made in a big circle, and didn't know where anything was. I just had some guy sitting next to me telling me, turn right, turn left, go here. And I was flying. So
Literally.
went to Crude Awakening and saw all of
That's the oil
Karen's
rig, everybody.
giant figures and thought, oh my God, I need to do that. And I had, in my work, I do enlargements of other artists' work, and I usually make something that's pretty close to the shape of it, about like an inch below the surface, and cover that thing with mesh. So it sort of looks like my sculptures, where it's a transparent thing that then gets clay put on it. And people would say, you know, that's a beautiful sculpture. And so Karen's was similar to that, these transparent figures. And until 2009 when I back, one o'clock in circle, I saw how to do it. That trust thing that I do all those pieces out of. I saw how to do it, and saw, you know, in my mind, I saw how to do it. And luckily, a friend of mine was taught engineering at Cal Poly, and so I called her up and asked if it was, after Burning Man, it was possible to do Bliss Dance, which I had already done small, in this way, with all these stresses going through the ankle. And she said, yeah, it's possible. And then put her student, Celinda Martinez, who is now Burning Man's engineer, on it for her senior thesis. And I've been working with her ever since.
It's amazing. And then
Yeah.
2010 begins an odyssey for you for the
Yeah.
Bliss Dance, the Bliss Project. And you bring the
Yeah.
first of the 3 sculptures, Bliss Dance, Truth is Beauty, and then Revolution. But the first one comes
Right.
in 2010. Why was that
Yeah.
the first sculpture that you decided to create?
Well, I didn't think that I had the opportunity I might not have the opportunity to do any of them again. You know, I was not a famous artist in any way. And I had a patron at the time, and I thought, well, I have one shot at this. And so the craziest one would be Bliss Dance, because it's on one leg. It's very dynamic, and that would make the most impact.
And can you describe it for anyone here who might not have seen it?
Okay. She's standing on one leg. She's doing kind of a crazy dance move, and off center. People would always ask, "How is that thing standing up?" And I go, "I don't know. You should probably run."
Right behind you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's right behind me. Bliss Dance is right behind me. That's what it looks like. Thank you, George. And that was pretty amazing because we sort of put it up before just to make sure things all fit together, but none of us had really seen it up as we were making it. So that was pretty amazing. I guess my favorite story is pre-burn. It's up, and this guy rides up on his bike and goes, "I was at center camp and I saw this sculpture of a woman, and I kept riding towards it, kept thinking it would come, that I was going to come up on it at any moment, and it just kept getting further and further and further away, and bigger and bigger and bigger." So that was fun. Because it was huge.
I have to ask, which is, I'm going to go a bit out of a tangent for a second. You bring now 4 of these massive sculptures to the playa. Was there anything that you totally messed up the first time with Bliss Dance that you're like, I will never do that mistake again, and you were able to kind of correct it in the subsequent 3?
Well, I guess with Bliss Dance, I gave myself 1 year to do it. That was something I will never do again. Since I had done enlargements before for 20 years, I just was doing like two enlargements, making it big again. And one of I, as a human, check my gut for everything. Every decision that I make, I do a gut check. When I was 16, I heard, my mom was a meditator, and she'd say, "You just have to be really quiet so the voice just can hear the universe talking to you." And at 16, I was kind of grumpy. And so I just went into a meditative space and told the universe to fucking speak up, that I was not going to get quiet, and it needed to turn up the volume. And it did. Strangely enough, it did turn up the volume, and I could feel like a yes-no thing. So I've done that my whole life. And then the sculpture's all done. And little Joe, who many of you may know, he helped on almost everything out there. He came in and welded the ankle, that crazy part. And he started telling me about what the size of things had to be to get on a truck. And I didn't know anything. So the torso is the biggest thing. And he goes, "It's got to be 8 by 10 by whatever." And so I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't take that into account at all." And lifted up the torso on 4 pictures so I could change the angle and fit it at an 8 by 10 by half inch on each side. Just total magic. That's pretty much how I do stuff, is depend on something watching over me. What it is, I have no idea what it is, or just touch with the universe. that stuff happens all the time. So there aren't that many mistakes. There haven't been things that didn't work. I mean, I built stuff for a long time before I did it. Yeah. So that's all I can say. It worked magically.
Yep. That's Marco. I'm gonna try to bring in George here. George, if hopefully you got some headsets on. Want to just say hi?
That's why I had to leave. When I plugged them in, of course, my Quest stopped hearing or doing anything audio. So
Amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing. So I'm curious, George, your just a little bit about you. Your Medium bio states the intersection of imagery, technology, and creativity. You're a photographer, technical marketing engineer, marketing consultant, artist, and trauma survivor. Yep, he's all those. How did you get to Marco Cochrane from there?
I went to Burning Man kind of almost on a dare to myself because I was in a head-on collision, and they told me I'd never walk without a brace. They told me I'd never get out of a wheelchair, but I was trying something without my brace for the first time, and I said Burning Man was the thing to do. Nice flat area, can't trip too easy. Yeah, I'll go there. And about on the year before, I met Marco and Katie and a whole bunch of people over in Treasure Island, and then I went out to the burn and I helped out with the live stream a bit, and had a great time.
What year was that?
Met a bunch of
What year
people.
was that?
That was 2013. And in 2014, I helped build and run the current webcast live stream that Motorbike Matt runs. And the two of us met in 2013 and helped them keep this live stream on the air that had no real crew working for it. And we took it over the next year, built it, made it up, and Motorbike Matt has taken that on as his project. And it's an amazing webcast, and he's done an amazing job with it. And
I'm curious,
a lot of fun.
which Marco Cochrane sculpture? I'm trying to think. 2013. Which was the first one you saw? Was it Revolution?
The first one I saw was Truth is Beauty, and then I brought my wife in 2015, and we saw our evolution.
Right.
And that was those were very special years to me because it's my first year, it was my wife's first year. We've been every year. They've had an official event since, and it's been fun. Yeah.
Can you explain, if you take a moment and just think back, can you try to describe what it was like to see Truth is Beauty for the first time? And did you see it at sunrise?
Yes, I did. I'm a photographer as well, and that's I was sunrise, sunset. Took a bunch of pictures that year. I think like 4,000.
Wow.
But seeing these giant metal, beautiful sculptures out there was one of the things that really it really sparked my creativity with my photography with it, because I'd never really been around art that was that big and that amazing to photograph. The things that Marco puts together have so many layers of art to them that it's interesting because just about everybody can find something with his art that you enjoy or click into and have a lifetime association with trying to do. Taking pictures of a lot of the art that he's brought out there has been one of the things I've loved doing, and we've become friends over time doing those kind of things. And now we're using imagery to go a little bit further than just taking pictures now. So we actually
we'll get
created
to that in a moment.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a moment. But I want to just go back and philosophically, Marco, if you can, what was the reason you created the Bliss Project? What were the three sculptures about for you?
Let's see. I had one of the first sculptures I did was of two figures, and I'll be expressing this whole thing out into the world in the next month or so. But I did these two figures that also just came into my mind when I was about 28 years old, and I could see the whole sculpture finished. It was one of those things where I don't know where creativity comes from, but it just was right there. So
Well, it's clearly a
I did a
dare.
little maquette of these two male figures. One has killed the other, and he's looking into his face and realizing that it's himself. So I was trying to do a memorial for the end of war, and I realized that there was no way war would ever stop unless women had way more power in the world, way more. And so I thought, okay, it's really important to figure out why they don't when they seems like they should. And I had when I was 7, I had a friend who was over at my house who was 9 years old, and this is a trigger warning. She got raped by a stranger right outside my house and dragged into a van, you know, the standard awful thing. And I saw the commotion. My mom told me what happened to her, and I was like, well, we're gonna stop the world, right? Then catch this person. I'm 7 years old, and my parents were really active against the Vietnam War, and I thought, well, this is just as much an emergency as that, isn't it? And they didn't do anything. Nobody did anything, and nobody ever talked about it again after that day. And to me, that looked like a severe trauma to her. And that if we're going to act like nothing happened, I started looking around, talking to women, and finding out that it happens all the time, and that the culture just doesn't do anything about it or even talk about it. And so, long before 20 years before Me Too, I thought, well, the only way we can do this is to get people to look at it, look at the issue, and then maybe they'll do something about it.
And how is that expressed in each of the 3 sculptures as you go from one to the next to the next?
They're all based on sort of a manifest. It is when you are manifesting or doing something in the world on a spiritual level or cosmic or whatever, you focus on what you want, not on what you don't want, because it's what you're visualizing that makes things happen. So if you're visualizing what you don't want, you're visualizing what you don't want, and that's what is manifest. So the idea is visualize what you want. And so each of the sculptures were me talking to Deja Solis. She's the same person as the model for all of them, and asking her, like, what would it be like if you were safe? What would you do? How would you hold yourself? And it took a while for her to get that.
Wow. Wow.
And put herself in that situation, that feeling. And so all of the sculptures are her expressing feeling safe on some level. And Bliss Dance is dancing. She loves to dance, but it's also a little dangerous to dance. Guys come up and grind on you and whatever. And what she noticed was if she really went for it, people gave her room. It was sort of a counterintuitive thing of really go for it and you'll have the space to do whatever you want. And so each of them are expressions of basically what would the world be like if women were safe, and her interpretation of that. And I don't pose anybody. None of the sculptures I do are posed. I just ask them what they want to do, and they come up with stuff. And so these are all her poses.
Did you move on to Gaia because you felt the Bliss project has completed what I wanted to say?
Yeah, yeah.
And how
You
how do you
go
fact?
actually
Sorry, go ahead.
that you could go and listen to that. You do a scriptures. Not like the final one being revolution um, was. It's okay to do like they're both pretty dynamic sculptures, Bliss and Truth is Beauty. And I want to end with saying you could just be present in the moment, and that's very powerful, or as powerful as doing something, right? Because in our culture we're so in doing, and so I wanted to end with it's okay just to be. And
Yeah.
I felt like that was maybe underrated, and I get bored really easily, so I wanted to add tense to it. So added breathing to revolution that was very subtle, but also just said basically it's okay to just be and breathe as my last
Yeah.
statement about that.
Yes. And how did
and
you
how
think
effective
about
that is.
how did you think about or factor in the interactivity that's so much a part of Burning Man? So when the sculptures are actually on playa and there are people
Mhm.
there, how are you thinking about the interactivity of the community?
Well, I'll say I think the clearest one with Truth is Beauty. When we came up with what would the world be like if women were safe, to have that written around the base. Um, it happened, and I saw it happen many times. It's like guys would walk up to it and go, "Wow, great! Oh man, great ass!" Do some kind of comment like that, and uh, and then they'd see that that was written around the base. Like, oh shit! And that's exactly what I wanted to do. Basically, cheat the system, and that use beauty and attraction to get people to come up to it, and then remind people that people live in these bodies, like humans actually live in these bodies that are so attractive, and they're just regular people, and they're not safe because people are always coming after them. And we do a speech at each one. Our Thursday night raging party, I would do a talk or a little speech about to basically to men, to as uncomfortable as it is, to remind them what is going on with how women are treated here. And I talked to a lot of men who have no idea. They just not at all. Safe is not a male experience. It's not something we think about much, but it's a really big deal. Anyway, that's the interactivity.
Thank you. And George, I'm curious, what is it like to photograph one of these pieces and try to capture those themes and those messages and that artistic vision? You're on mute.
There we go. Yeah, that's better. It's actually quite hard to explain. Photographing the works out on playa is uh, um, kind of another level because you're dealing with a lot of variables that add to and help you make some great art out of what the art that is out there. But like you said, trying to expound on the vision that the art's there uh, uh, um, telling us basically is a lot of it's just trying to find those positions, those places that when you're looking at the scene with the people around and the beauty that he's created, where it all kind of meshes together in your mind, and the pictures just kind of come. You know what you're looking for once you're there. I don't know how to explain that part. It's hard.
Were any of them easier to capture than others?
They're all easy to capture. It's so beautiful from every angle. How could you take a bad picture of it? I guess that's
Marco,
why it's hard to explain.
Marco, I understand our evolution is actually headed
I couldn't hear
to.
what you just said.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Nope, you're breaking up.
And I am breaking up. Am I
Yeah,
breaking
now
up
I
for
can hear you.
others? Okay, great. Yeah. I hear our evolution is headed on a journey. Can you tell us a bit about that? That's the third of the three pieces.
Yes, it's Transfix is a group of burners that's doing what I think all of us artists have hoped could exist, which is touring a bunch of Burning Man work. Because a lot of times we just store these things afterwards, and I've always thought, we should gather a bunch of these things together and see if people would pay to look at them in the real world, so we could make money instead of pay to have these artists, pay to have these sculptures. And those guys are doing it. And the first stop is Vegas, which wasn't supposed to be, but it came up during the process of creating Transfix, and so it's going to be in front of Resort World, which is the newest casino hotel thing, and then it's going to tour the country, bunch of cities,
Amazing.
along with, I don't know, something like 40 other sculptures.
Wow.
Revolutions is the center, or one of the centers, because it's just tall and pretty. It's got a lot of impact.
Yes. Yes. I have we're going to take questions from the audience and from our guests. We have a lot of people watching on Zoom right now, but I do have one more question for Marco before we take questions. And we will also want to just take a few minutes just to talk about this digital landscape that we're in. Marco, so you finished the Bliss project, but then you brought a fourth piece to the playa called Gaia, and we can watch on this screen Marco in his Daft Punk helmet actually creating Gaia for the playa. Can you tell us about what motivated this project to go to playa?
Wait, do I need to turn and look?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. Wow, that's beautiful. Perfect.
So
Thank you.
one thing is that video of him welding is actually not of Gaia.
Oh,
It's,
great.
it's actually a part of the next sculpture he's creating, the male sculpture over here. But yes, this is a little slow mo there for you. But
So what
Yeah.
motivated this? What was behind this project?
Well, it's an obvious next step is if women were safe, let's just say that's happening. And the question is, my ex, we were together at the time during this, but ironically split up during the process. I had been thinking for years. I'd done lots of pregnant sculptures and focusing on mothering as this aspect of places where, again, when you're talking about empowering women, one of the things that has no value in our culture is mothering, nurturing. It's only the most important thing in our culture, and it gets nothing, has no value at all. And so I wanted to focus on that, and she came up with this pose of something that she really enjoyed, which was hanging out on the beach on Stinson Beach with her 3 young kids, 3 young sons, like wrestling in front of her. And she was also brought there when she was a kid by her mom. Just lay on the beach and watch your kids play. And so the idea was that sculpture is the mom and we are the kids at Burning Man.
Amazing.
And yeah. And it worked. People got it.
We have a question from one of our Zoom participants, and I want to start there if I can. And it's from Kristen, and she's asking if materials, cost, and time weren't, a constraint. Do you have any visions for projects that you would love to build?
Oh yes. I have.
So we're going to take a collection now to make that happen.
Great. Yes.
What is it?
The next one, which I've already been working on for 2 years, is again something that I feel like is the next natural step. Is recognizing the nurturing that goes on in the world and trying to look at, like, I think we should value this. It's really important because it has profound effects in the world. The next one is racism. Yeah, I got the echo happening, but so when I've been thinking about this my whole since Martin Luther King was killed, and my parents told me how Black people are treated in this country, I thought, God, how do they function? That's crazy to not, like, be unwelcome everywhere you go, except for a room with only Black people in it. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know if I could do that. So when George Floyd happened, and I didn't know who cared other than me and my crazy hippie family. So when George Floyd happened, I felt like there's a lot of white people who care about this, a lot of people around the world who care about this. So I think it's time to do a sculpture of a Black man to recognize the situation. It's the same type of thing like with women. If we're not going to look at it, see, like, how is this affecting these human beings? How do they do it? And what is going on? So start and working on a team of figure, and that's people 50 feet. And since it's a Black man, and the silver chrome, stainless steel that I build out of usually just does not read as black. It pretty much reads as white or light color. So, and I've always wanted to work in carbon fiber since I used to build boats back before I was an artist. And carbon fiber was just coming in the early 80s. And so I started thinking about building in that material. And so now I have a whole plan to print this surface in panels on a 3D printer and then build the internal structure. And it's the same vibe as all the other ones, just black material. And the internal structure will be made by hand laying up over a form the internal weight-bearing structure of it. And one of the beautiful aspects of this is that it's all light, I mean, weight-wise, and can be picked, each piece, even the ankles that are going to be massive weight-bearing things, will be light enough so people could carry them around instead of using heavy equipment. So we can actually put it together on Playa as part of the ceremony of this honoring them.
Do you have a working name for the project?
Mankind.
Thank you for
Different
sharing.
ways to work.
Yes.
Next is well, it's probably another year. It's not coming this year, but next year, 2024. Next one is what is it? It's the Venus of Willendorf. Is the 30,000 square that was found in Germany. And when I saw the actual in Paris, I thought, well, I'm in this 30,000 year train of artists making sculptures. That's a long time for people, anyway. It's probably what's going on before that. But when I looked at it, I saw the hair of it with curly hair, and I thought, oh, right, he's black. White didn't exist yet, or that whiteness in humanity hadn't happened yet. That variation. And so when I was thinking of the next piece after the man is obviously the woman, and a black woman. And a friend of mine said, a black woman said, you should make this the black woman. And so that one is called, what is it? What? No, the
A mother.
Is it Mother of Us? Our Mother? Mother of Us All. So I'm still working on this path of how do we get to peace? To be able to live in peace. And that after dealing with racism and empowering women, the next one is just truly recognizing that we are all one family and celebrating that there is a mother, and if you want to get racist about it, she's black, but everybody was back then. Well, then the next one is a very interactive piece that is a big toroidal shape, 40 feet tall, 40 feet wide, and you walk up the outside of it and then get dropped down into the middle of it. And the idea is that it holds 200 people, and as you're walking up this, 200 people are going to drop into the center, and you actively love them.
Oh, wow.
And then after 200 people, you are the one in the center, and you get actively loved by 200 people. And I did
Do I
this
have to sign a
because
consent waiver before I go in?
yes, you do, right? Right. And you jump into a covered slide, spiral slide, then drop down into a hug area where you can get a hug from as many people as you want, or not at all. But
Amazing.
the idea, I got the idea of it when Trump won the election. I thought, oh shit, like love is lost. Like this idea of like, you should just make, steal from everybody, and this very aggressive capitalistic thing, which has no love as far as I can see in it. So I thought I need to make something that proves that love is a real thing. And I don't know if it's going to feel weird to be, or going to feel anything in the middle of this, but I had this friend of mine who's like a really big biker dude, tatted out, and he looked at it and he goes, wow, I'm going to have to go through that thing 4 or 5 times. So I thought, okay, it probably will work. And so once that's done, I'm going to do Death of the Enemy again, the one I did back when I was 28, in the style that I didn't know about when I made that, triangulated, probably not as big as the ones I did before. All 4 of these pieces will be done by the time I'm 70, because I just turned 60. So that's 4 sculptures in the next 10 years. And I want to do 3 more big things that I don't know what they are, with commission pieces. There's collaborations with somebody who can afford to do it and wants to be to collaborate with me and get eternally famous. Spent a few $1 million. So I'm open to 3 multi-million-dollar commissions. And you
There's
guys
that
can sign
limitless
up. You're
bank.
first in line.
Yes.
It's like, have you
Speaking
ever
of-
thought, I want to work with that guy, and I want to do something amazing. I'm here.
Amazing. I wanted to open up. We have a few minutes before this event is over. If there's any questions, if anybody wants to show me their emojis, raise your hand, and I will call on you. And hopefully you'll have a question for Marco or George. Good. I see one over here. Lala Kish. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. What a
Let me
great
see.
talk.
Give me a second. I want to see if I can get you a megaphone. Hold on a second. Let's see, Lala Kish. Give me 1 second so everybody can hear you. Hold on. There you are.
Thank you.
Megaphone.
Test.
Can hear you now. Oh, there you go.
I'm confirming. Thank you. What a great talk. And I loved the message about feeling safe. I think that resonates with everybody. So thank you. But I missed the sculpture tour and the group that's doing that. Can you repeat that, please? And who's
Yes.
doing that and how to find out more about that?
It's Transfix, and
Transfix.
that's the name of the company, or the name of the touring company. Camera Girl's part of it. Thor's part of it. Tom Seppi's part of it. Sean Orlando. So I mean, it's like we all know each other, and Michael Blatter, who is a burner. We've been trying to do some giant thing together for years and years, and here we are. We're finally going to be able to do it. The idea is to gather enough sculptures together so that it's sort of like there's enough gravity that people would come and it could support itself and support the artists whose work is there. And the first stop is Vegas, and then the next stop is, I don't think it's set up yet. It was going to be LA first, but then this Vegas opportunity happened. And that's it. Is that any more questions? Is that enough?
We got another one over here. We've got Admiral. Just give me a second while I put you on megaphone, okay? Just give me 1 second. I will get you. Hold on. Where did you go? I saw you on the board. Oh, there you are. Okay. All right, man, you're up.
Hey, I would like to ask Marco about the artist's relationship to museums of a Burning Man artist. I worked in Los Angeles and art museums for 17 years, and I've always thought the art that I saw on the playa was more interesting than almost anything I'd seen in the museums that I've been working in. So I was wondering about your particular relationship, or just with Burning Man artists in general, with the established art museum community and business model.
Thank you.
Let's see. I have no connection to it other than that. What is it? No Spectators that was in the Smithsonian Renwick, and traveled to Cincinnati and then to Oakland. Other than that, I don't know that world. If you know, I would love to talk to you. Because it seems like you have connections, or gone to school and people, and I don't know. I don't even know. Wouldn't know where to begin.
Thank you, Marco.
But I'd love to do it.
And before we wrap up, George, I just thought maybe you can give us a quick overview of where we are and what the vision of this space was going to be and what the future of it is.
Sure. What you're looking at here is actually a recreation of the center of Marco's studio. And with the exception of the Bliss Dance sculpture and the R Evolution sculpture, not general there, I placed those there. But right now there are two of the arms that you see in plaster and white behind. He's recreating clay in a larger form. The centerpiece that you see in here, this device up here, is what Marco uses to do the enlargements when he goes from a life-size clay to a larger piece like the torso and the legs that you see under the bags behind or the plastic behind us. So this is really showing what Marco works with on a daily basis to create some of these large sculptures. And this is part of a documentation that we've been doing for 2 years now on the man sculpture, the mankind project that he's talking about. And we're documenting every layer of clay that Marco puts on the sculpture, right down to the armature. So we'll be able to animate this entire process. And we've even created a metahuman of Marco so that we have a digital version of him to guide you through the documentation. So that's
Wonderful.
the
And what's the
primary thing
future of,
here.
since this won't be here in alt space much longer, what is the
Right.
future of this project?
This project we brought it here because we had most of it built already, and we are planning on using it in some future things that we're putting together right now. I don't have any specifics, but we are working with Unreal Engine 5 as
Oh,
a
yeah.
base for our for most of our right now.
Yep.
And this exact scene was built in Blender and functions in Unreal Engine 5. And then Doug, hey, Doug, thank you, man. You took all the
There he is
stuff
up
and
there,
brought it
everybody. Doug
into.
Jacobson.
Yeah, thank you. He brought all of this from my files into AltSpace and got it working for us here, and even recreated some of the stuff that didn't work.
Amazing. Well,
Looks good.
Marco and George,
Yes.
your avatars are very handsome, and we want to thank you for your brilliance. Thank you both so much for joining us today and sharing this incredible journey that you're still on, and we're so lucky to be a part of. And I guess if they're around and you have any questions for them, feel free to say hello and ask anything of them directly. We have more events happening the rest of this day through 10 o'clock p.m. Pacific tonight. And we can't wait to share with everybody all the amazing things that are happening for Reburn for the rest of the day. Thank you so much, Marco. Thank you, George.
Thank
you guys. And if
This
you
is
guys want to
great.
find out more about our digital stuff, we have a Patreon channel, and we'd love the support. And we'll be posting more information about how we put the stuff together on that channel.
All right.
Have a good day, everybody.
All right.